Cool. So this is the last session for today, Ops Session Singapore. So I'm between all of you and happy hours. I believe we have 30 minutes for this. We have very exciting lineup with us here from cloud provider, partner, system integrator, and practitioner as well. When we talk about observability journey, right? So before we get started to the hot topics, why don't we start with an introductions? Who are you? Where are you from? And of course, what do you do in the company? Alessio, you want to kick us off?
I'm Alessio, work for AWS, been there 5 years. Part of a team that helps digital native customers, the grab of the world. And before I was a practitioner though, funny story, I used to build my product, which is a digital wallet based out of Hong Kong on Azure. So I've seen how observability works on Azure, on AWS, and yeah, happy to be here.
I'm Jun Hong Chu. You can call me Jun, right? And I'm a lead cloud engineer from iZeno, right? So in iZeno, my team specialize in providing consultations and implementation service as well, right? On the cloud architecture and cloud solutions in general, right? And of course, that includes guiding our customers throughout their observability adoption journey. And yeah, very excited to be here. Hopefully that I can provide some of my experience and that will help you providing some insights to you. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, I am Nayan. I head up the observability at the Standard Chartered Bank. We are a huge bank and we provide banking services across private banking, retail banking, investment banking, etc., etc. I lead a team of passionate engineers who love building observability for the end user, and they believe in co-sharing of observability across our end users. So I'm here today to share about my experiences, what are the pitfalls to build a huge observability platform for a huge bank, and what are the best practices that we all can reuse and learn from you guys as well.
Great, thanks. So let's start with the first one for you, Nayan. So from your perspective in a Standard Chartered Bank, why is observability important for you? And of course, you could share more a bit like what are the challenges you've seen observing, creating of observability from where you were before to where you are now. That would be great for all of us.
So I think observability is a very important element in our overall business vehicle. Not just from a technology perspective or infrastructure perspective, more of how our clients work with us or how we get the business from our clients. We do use observability across various business services. So just to give you a context, we have around 1,800 banking applications in the bank, and which are across 65 data centers, major cloud providers, AWS, Azure, etc., etc. So the observability plays a very crucial role for any proactive incident management or a major incident or infrastructure outage, and then enabling our client experiencing and ensuring we are always on for our clients. Because when you're sitting in front of a client or a private wealth customer, what you want last is that your RM SAP goes down, right? So I think that's the experience that observability platform does for the entire bank. And we have around 8,000 engineers, developers, RE, etc., in the bank, who uses observability platform in their own way, and how they build the right set of observability together with the experience. I think that's one thing that we have achieved so far, and we are still on the journey. I think the key barriers and challenges that I would say is, right, 3 years back when we started this journey, we were pretty much using like 64 different monitoring and observability tools across the bank. And everyone was doing on their own, and everyone had, some were very advanced, some were very low, and some were somewhere in the middle. And one of the key things that we figured out was we lacked entire transparency of the state and common patterns across the platforms. For example, our applications which were there on cloud, on-prem, different local data centers, they couldn't observe the same things in the same way. Like for them, their service was the same name and the methods were same, but they had different dashboards, they had different alerts to go to. So I think that's where we started from. I won't say all the 65 are gone. There are still some which are still there. We are still working on a consolidation. But overall, as a journey, we are far beyond now. In the last 2.5 years, we moved very fast, and we provided a sort of a single pane of glass plus more of automated observability patterns for our end users to consume, and bringing the same page for the different personas like developer and SREs, as well as the delivery heads and managers, giving them the same sort of panes. That's what brings the observability together.
Over 60 monitoring tools. That's crazy level of silos.
And the fun thing is that all these 65 monitoring tools are not like exclusive. Sometimes one application uses like 4 or 5.
I found out an application which was using, it's one of our banking services for our retail clients, and that application used around 22 of them.
Spanning from cloud to on-prem and yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So if I may, just another thing. This is clear, right? So sometimes in a technology organization, people focus on what are the features of the tool that I use, or how many tools do I have? Can I do consolidation because I want to save money? And this is all good, but the focus is really to be able to get visibility, because what you want is your system to be up, right? And you want to detect signals early enough so you can do preemptive actions so you don't end up in an incident. So having all the tools that makes incidents easy and manage and do search and do root cause analysis, it's good, but your goal is not to get to an incident, right? So.
Yeah, this is like one of the things, of course, when there's so many tools, everybody talks different languages. I mean, we all working on the same company, you achieve one thing, making revenue for the business. But when things goes crazy, everybody speak one language, another speak another language, and when problem comes, that's where.
Yeah, I can also relate to that, right? So some of our customers, they even sharing all these tools. So sometimes one incident happens, right? Everything pops up. Right, then it's very confusing. They don't know where to look, and they probably be looking at the wrong thing at the wrong time as well. Right, so providing that one centralized pane of glass that you mentioned is really the key, and really help them to reduce a lot of those operation overhead. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So on that topic, right? I think for Alessio and Junhong, from your perspective here, how does you see the observability relate to where people now still on the journey to the cloud as a platform as well? Do you see anything around that, any kind of trends?
Yeah, so because I mean for iZeno, right, we focus more on, like, for example, cloud migrations and stuff, right? Of course, there are a few key so-called metrics that the customer trying to achieve, right? Reduce downtime, right? Increase performance, and at the same time must be cost efficiency, right? So other than that, I would say the observability tools, especially very useful during the migration process, right? That provides them a very so-called consolidated view, right, of what is not being migrated and what is already migrated, right? Keeping track of the progress, the inventory, and at the same time provide that dependencies mapping as well, right? That's very key in migrations, right? And I think one of the biggest bonus is that they can see in firsthand how the different performance they have when after migrating to cloud as well, right? Because a lot of the time, while migrating to cloud, we will be also looking at modernization, optimizations, right? So they get to see it firsthand, the different, and that always help to propel the project move forward. Yeah.
So your question was, what do we see in customers as they go in their journey
Correct.
to the cloud, right?
Correct. How does the observability relate?
Right. So from our point of view, there are two main things. The first one is what Nayan said, is consolidation, right? Of course, it's very hard to get like a single pane of glass for real.
Yeah.
But you want a tool that is flexible enough to say, well, I have some stuff in the cloud, I have some stuff on-prem, I have some stuff in like a SaaS application, for instance, and you want to be able to observe how all these things interact together. And sometimes it's easy, collect log the metrics. You don't just want to observe, sometimes you want to apply things, right? You want to make sure that patching or like latest version is the same, so you want some tools that allows you not just to observe but also to operate on that, right? So this is the first thing, and consolidation is a big thing. Of course, you don't want to overdo, but so you need certain primitives, right? So that's the first thing that we saw. Another thing, if I may, is more about practice, right? So when people start in their observability journey, sometimes the goal is, oh, I have this fantastic tool, I have all these metrics that come in, I'm going to create all the alerts, right? And I was telling him earlier, the one team came to them and said, oh, we have like, what's that, 10,000? 21,000 alerts. And we're like, congratulations. How are you acting on all these 10,000 alerts that fires every day, right? So to your point, what we see is that there's this like big enthusiasm with the tool at the beginning, and then the second step and the hardest is to be the practice around that, right? So it's good to have visibility on what your system is doing. Then what are you going to do about that? How are you going to react to these alerts? Are you going to see the same alerts firing every day, right? How are you removing the root cause of this thing? So that's a practice more than a tool adoption.
Yep.
And that's the most complicated thing, is what we see people are spending most of the time on.
Yep. There's the culture change that the organization, the team essentially need to pick up as well, right? There's one thing that you mentioned just now before, that previously, like this, looking back a couple of years ago, there's a different tools owned by different teams, and now things has changed. Can you talk to us more about how do you operate your observability team now? Who is involved, especially, of course, for the practitioner here? How do you guys even collaborate with many different stakeholders?
So, very interesting. I think one thing when I was building this team, I made sure is that we have people from different teams, different business domains, and not just somebody picked up from those custodians of tools to build this team. So I think the organization barrier is a huge, especially when you have to change the mindset and the people's thought process, how they use different tools, and getting them onto a single observability platform. For me, when I built this team, few things that I ensured is that whatever was working right is being reused. That's one thing. The other thing was we as a team had a vision to use more products which are less vendor lock-ins and more open telemetry type of skill sets. So when we built this team, we looked around in the organization, and you will find people who naturally fall for it, like who love the space of, for example, one of our Grafana SME who works very closely with Alfredo. He came out of the blue and said, I love this observability stuff, I love open telemetry, I love Grafana, I love Elastic, etc., etc. And he came back and said, can I get a job in your team? And I don't care where I'm sitting, but I think I can contribute a lot on this team. The two overcome the barriers, I think what we do is we do every week training sessions across the organization. And some of these training sessions, we usually have a Q&A type of people sometimes. Like 30 minutes is a Q&A, rapid fire type of rounds. And then the first 30 minutes is what we are rolling out new, what is new feature, etc., that you can use. What is the automated template just to configure on your on-prem Kubernetes or on EKS, AKS, wherever you want to do it. I think the other part that we do is we believe we have created the learning pathways in the organization. So we have launched the trainings with our internal training academy. And so we have a specialized course on how to get your dashboard up and running together with the alerts within 5 minutes kind of thing. How to reuse the panel libraries for Kubernetes, then how do we use the panel libraries for your monolith apps or for microservices, etc. Other than that, I think finding the right set of individuals who have the same mindset as what you are towards is not easy. Some people will join, some people may not join, and then some will left in middle of the journey. So we got attritions as well, because you are trying to explain to an audience who is very used to how they do use their certain monitoring tool and or how they do some special observability for their special projects. And then you end up getting a lot of bashings around the organization that, I can't use this platform. I can't do this because I love my thing, right? So you got to have a lot of resiliency as well in your, it's more of a human resilience. You have to have that. How do you foster that culture of learning? And we have some sort of scoring as well. Like we have a game type of where we score people who do a better logging. We score people we penalize people. I was just telling him about it. We penalize people who write some shitty logs into their logs, like could not connect to unknown. I remember this for this week. There's this team who writes this log message called could not connect to unknown, and when we looked at the entire platform, they sent huge amount of log message saying could not connect to unknown, and we had to literally put it on our Kafka and drop it every time we encounter such silent drop of messages. So yeah, I think building the team is a bit of challenge, but finding the right mindset and running the right side of training and learning culture is very important to overcome these barriers.
On this topic, I think one thing that you mentioned that piqued my interest is, number one, is that, of course, resistant to change is human nature generally, right? Another thing that you point out is where you intentionally choose tools that talk openly, where the open telemetry comes in. On this area, will there be, when it comes to like criteria, this could be, of course, like choosing the tools, choosing the platform, choosing the even like vendors you work with. Apart from this, is there kind of like some of the top 3 area that you'll be looking at for?
I think, so one, when we did the RFP across those 65 tools that we had, 3 things that we looked at. So as you said, open telemetry compliant and vendor neutral. And the second thing was we looked at the organization usage. We found out that Grafana as a dashboard and Elastic as a skill set was very popular in the organization, and 65% of the engineering committee knew it. So it was very easy to go for a selection of couple of products across the organization. And the third one was of course the cost, because the cost when it comes to observability, cost can really go very high. And some of my AWS friends know about how do I pay my AWS bills. So The cost is the third thing that we look after. That how do we keep our TCO less across the organization for the entire set of observability and monitoring tools that we use. So those are the three key criteria. Apart from that, if you look at all those 58, every one of them will have a special niche thing that they built for themselves. But that can be replicated using some REST APIs, as he said in his presentation, that can be replicated through some of the SNMP patterns or things like that. I think that's what we aim to do.
If I take my AWS hats off for a second and put before AWS hats off, one thing that was working very well in getting adoption was the fact that some tools needs to be self-service, right? To his point, you create a dashboard, but every single one of those dashboard is editable. So there's an edit button next to a pie chart or a diagram. Say, well, show me the query. Can I tinkle with the query? Can I do it? And to the point that when we were implementing this in my role before, a lot of product managers and business users, so-called, they were using Grafana in that case to do like dashboarding related to progress of like ongoing tickets or ongoing chat for support, so stuff like that, right? And they didn't actually have access to the database for the tickets in particular. They were just having access to an event stream of every time this, create a new chat or this like send message API were invoked, right? So again, it was not the actual data. It was like a proxy, a technical data events. But it was easier for them to just self-serve their requirements using the technical observability tool rather than the tool that they were using. In this case, it was a customer support tool, right? So the fact that those tools are accessible, you had the data, and you can figure out how to use it on your own was like a super driver of adoption. It was changing the mindset, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, just to add on, right? So I think, yeah, of course, the two gentlemen here have shared very good points, right? But I think just to add on, as from a SI's perspective, right? When we choose the tools with the customer, I think other than flexibilities and costs, right? One of the key things that we really love Grafana is also the amount of supported integrations, and yet providing the flexibilities to do customizations for a lot of special use cases. So I think this is one of the strong points where we see success with customer adopting Grafana, especially in a highly distributed, very complex so-called system. This really works very well. Yeah.
I think the data sources that Grafana provides, I don't think anybody else provides. So yeah, kudos to you.
Thank you. That's why Grafana is Grafana. So I have one question, but after this, then we'll open the floor for the Q&A. So for the audience, if you have any questions, you can prep the questions now. But before that, for our panelists here, when it comes to observability trend, where do you see this will change as, of course, things will come in? There's the whole thing with the AI bubbles, people are saying now. Arguably, I think there's the crypto bubbles floating around somewhere. Of course, business will change, right? Where do you anticipate this observability trend will be in coming years?
For me, I think there are a few points that I think just now Anthony has shared, right? I'm very excited in seeing the FinOps, auto instrumentations. I think that will be the next big thing, right? And on top of that, me personally, I'm seeing a lot of these new use cases where, how iZeno code it is like AI ops, right? So other than just monitoring, alerting, and provide variable insights, actionable insights actually, and we are also looking. A lot of customer is also looking at automate that remediations. So you actually complete the whole cycles, and I think that's really exciting, right? Yeah, so this is where I really look forward, and I think that is the next big things for observabilities. Thanks.
I think, as you highlighted, in the observability space, I do really see AIOps and anomaly detection going much beyond across the organizations. and the Gen AI integrations, which will make the ease of it together with some of the popular ML algorithms, which will make the ease of writing and finding the root cause analysis. That will be a significant uplift in this space. And lastly, I would say the remediation part, which is more of a agentic AI, as people call the buzzwords, but essentially getting the early detection and then quickly remediating the anomalies which are very common. I think that's something which is going to be a good space to where observability will trend towards.
I think I'll be boring and say Gen AI. To his point, there's a lot of small operational improvements that you can do even before you do root cause analysis or the Grafana thing that they were showing with generating the post-mortem. We release a couple of services and features and reinvent that help you in the moment, in the incident. And when the alerts fire, we create an operational investigation, and there's a model that's already looking at the logs. So, the time it takes you to get your alert and log into your laptop and get some coffee maybe because it's late night, models are already doing the initial gathering and investigation for you. So when you start looking at the issue, you already have like an idea of where to look. So I think that these things are really useful. And why they're useful? Because they help you reduce the time it takes you to restore the service, and that basically results into better customer experience, right? So again, in Amazon, we always do something which is we work backward from the customer outcome that we want to have. So all the tooling is cool, all the Gen AI is cool, but that's the goal, right?
I think faster resolution. Essentially, I think making every engineers super engineers. So everybody has a very powerful tools that allows them to essentially figure out quickly.
And I think correlation part, as he mentioned, right? The tools doing correlation before even engineer looks at that thing.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a big thing.
Totally.